Hit him.
Guys, get him. Now, don't shoot him again. Jeez. I think I might have hit him in the back to slowed him, and then Warwick let loose with a shotgun a couple of times, and then they got down here, and he was fighting the dogs and tearing the dogs up, and I was able to put one above him down through his neck. I'm just so excited. I tell you, it's an unbelievable. It's by far the biggest cat I've ever taken. My second trip back to Zimbabwe with the Leopard with Hounds. This morning...
This is the latest hunting fad in southern Africa, hunting leopards with packs of dogs. The dogs are specially bred and highly trained, and once they've been put onto the trail of a leopard, they're not likely to stop until they've cornered the beast. Then the wealthy overseas client moves in to make the kill and bag the trophy.
Turned the hounds loose and went over a few of these big rock crappies. Hounds bayed this cat up probably within 20 minutes.
Watch the dogs. Yeah, flag it. Flag it. That's it. That's it, he's down. Watch him.
It was so exciting. I mean, the dogs and the cat fighting.
Don't. Leave him. Don't. Jesus. Well, that's it.
Waiting and waiting and waiting. Oh, it's a nice cat. You know, the biggest thing about taking one of these cats is you want to come out of this thing with no dead dogs and no scratched up clients and scratched up hunters, and so that just makes a lot of difference, and it's just very, very exciting, high adrenaline rush hunt.
Hunting leopards with dogs has been going on for some time, but it's the first time visuals like these have been shown. This video material was obtained by the SPCA, who handed it to Special Assignment. Earlier today, we were threatened with legal action if we dared broadcast it.
Wait till that dog moves. Wait. Now. That's it.
Bill Bray is one of the American hunters who came to Zimbabwe to bag a leopard with the help of hounds.
I have a 48-month period that I scheduled all of the sheep in the world, all the bears, all the big game, everything I could think of. And I really consider myself a consumer hunter. I hunt a lot of animals I've never seen before, and I'll probably only hunt them one time. So I'm no expert on any animal. In fact, a lot of them I've just never laid an eye on until I shoot them. But the dangerous game here is something I'm not used to. In fact, the other day, charged by a leopard. I've shot a lot of things running away from me, but I've never shot them coming to me.
The safari hunting industry in southern Africa is a huge money spinner, but it's also highly competitive. Safari operators are under extreme pressure to come up with new products that will attract the fickle and often easily bored overseas clients.
Now we're looking here. Now there's elephant, there's buffalo, there's sable over there, wildebeest. There was zebra down there. 5 species.
Mark Butcher is a Bulawayo-based Zimbabwean safari operator. Just over 5 years ago, he was at the forefront of a new hunting fad. He started experimenting, tracking leopards with hounds in Matabeleland. He's since conducted more of these hunts than any other operator in Zimbabwe.
I've been selling safaris now for 15 years or something. I was absolutely staggered by the response from the overseas market when we first started to talk about leopard with hounds. I hadn't seen anything like it. Sitting back and thinking about it, it's actually interesting because I spoke to a lot of guys and said, why are you guys so keen on it? And particularly the North Americans, but to a certain extent the Europeans too, they have been using hounds to hunt with as part of their culture since forever. And they hunt mountain lions with hounds, they hunt bears with hounds. And for them, the big question is not whether or not we should be using hounds, but why the hell haven't we done it 15, 20 years ago? Why has it taken us so long to switch on to it?
As the hunts gained in popularity, other Zimbabwean and Southern African safari operators started to cash in on the hype. One of the challenges was to breed the ultimate leopard hound. Houndsmen imported dogs from the United States and crossbred them with local dogs. But one safari operator and houndsman based in the Eastern Cape had the edge over his competitors.
These two hounds are crossbreds. They're used for the hot scent running and a very important part of the pack.
Gary Miles has been breeding hounds for decades. In this television program made in the Eastern Cape in the mid-80s, he showed off the skills of his hounds in hunting so-called problem animals, lynx, caracal and jackal. Miles and his partner and nephew Warwick Evans now specialize in leopard hunting. They take their hounds to Zimbabwe, where they're in high demand amongst safari operators.
All the areas we're hunting in Zimbabwe, you can't track them in by eye, so it wouldn't be an option to do it without the dogs with the tracking method. In Botswana, we're obviously in the sandveld there where we helped a lot by the bushmen. We do it slightly differently there. The bushmen track them in until the track is fresh enough for the dogs, and then you unload the dogs and you do the rest with the dogs.
The leopard with hound hunts would have continued unnoticed, but then just over a year ago the Zimbabwean SPCA found out about them.
Take your time, make sure you're a good shot. Take your time.
Shooting!
The animal welfare organization was outraged and started an international outcry against the practice. Since then, the SPCA's Merrill Harrison has been fighting a lonely battle.
Yeah, people are afraid on issues like this of speaking out. People within this country, people have phoned me, hunters have phoned me and said that they disapprove of it.
After the outcry, uncontrolled leopard hound hunts were stopped, but overseas clients, especially the Americans, were hooked. They insisted on hunting leopards with hounds. The Zimbabwean government then agreed to allow trial runs. Nearly 40 permits were issued, and trial runs started a few months ago. They'll continue until the end of the year.
We were absolutely flabbergasted to find that a backward step had been taken and that hunts, even trial hunts, so-called trial hunts, were going to be allowed.
Why don't we experiment on it? Because there is demand. But then we are doing it under controlled conditions, under the quota that has been prescribed by CITES and under monitoring by the relevant Department of National Parks and Wildlife Management.
There's great concern about what the new hunting fad will do to the leopard population. Renowned conservationist Viv Wilson has done extensive research on big cats. He's now updating his research on Zimbabwe's cheetah and leopard numbers. Leopards are not considered endangered in Zimbabwe, but they are listed as threatened by extinction by the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species. Zimbabwe is allowed to hunt 500 leopards a year.
Many years ago, the director of national parks felt that there was about 35,000 leopards in Zimbabwe. Those figures were quoted merely because we needed to have some sort of baseline data so that we could get a CITES permit to shoot and export a certain number of leopards. And the quota, I think, at that time was set at 500 leopards, because they felt if we had 35,000 leopards, we could safely take off 500 leopards a year and it wouldn't affect the population. However, nobody has ever done a detailed survey of leopard in this country. So we don't really have the slightest clue what the leopard population is.
I admit, yes, it is high time we re-looked at the research to find out exactly what are the trends, what is the home range like, and so on. That I admit has to be done. But that can be done in parallel to hunting, because I don't believe we should do it like other countries have done, to say you stop hunting until we know how many leopards we have.
you know, on a 10-day hunt, first day we're done in an hour and a half. I don't know what he's going to do for the rest
To
of the
the
time.
overseas clients, using hounds to hunt leopards is a quick, effective way of bagging the sought-after trophy.
14 nights sitting in a blind.
To get a leopard. Here it took me an hour and a half.
But hunting leopard with hounds is far more exciting. It's far more sporting than hunting by traditional methods, i.e. bait and blinds.
So if you're hunting out of a blind, you're sitting there and the leopard has no chance at all. He doesn't know you're there. He gets up in the bait and boom, that's that. It's not much of a hunt.
Turn the hounds loose and hounds bait.
Some hunting outfits market the experience as the thrill of a lifetime, or the most exciting leopard hunt ever. They insist that it is a sporting way to hunt.
Cat ended up in these rocks here, and Ted got around here and shot up there and killed the thing, and it's just unbelievably exciting. The hounds are making a noise. You're getting in close to a leopard. He roars a little bit, so it makes it a little more exciting.
So it was very exciting, and it's sort of dangerous.
To me, sport hunting is when you go out and you get on your flat feet and you track the animal down with a tracker and a professional hunter, and you spend hours walking in the heat and everything else, and you find your animal and you shoot it, and I don't believe that's a bad thing.
The big hunting dogs are highly efficient, and some safari operators have boasted a 100% success rate. Others say the leopards still have a chance to escape.
These leopards are very experienced in evading animals that follow his trail. And they learn this, I believe, from hyenas and jackals and things. So when those hounds are following the trail, we see leopards frequently that when it gets warm like it is right now, walking onto rocks like those over there, where they know that their scent is blown away quickly and the hounds lose the scent, and that's it.
But I believe, knowing dogs and knowing leopards, I reckon once you've got the leopard scent, the dogs have got the leopard scent, I would believe there's almost a 99% chance that that's a dead leopard.
Wait till that dog moves. Wait. Now.
And once the leopard is chased into a corner, the guns come out.
Hold on, boys.
Anybody who thinks that a leopard up in these hills that we have around here is helpless doesn't know leopard. These leopard that we hunt up here are smart, they're strong, they're fit, they're incredibly aggressive. They are more than able to look after themselves.
A trapped leopard under those circumstances isn't a very, very aggressive animal. But he still won't stand much of a chance against a bunch of people with guns and against a whole lot of dogs. The leopard has got virtually no chance.
Well, yes, I'm sure it is cruel, but it's no more or no less cruel than any other method of hunting. And we can anthropomorphize about how a leopard feels when it's being hunted. We don't actually know that.
The SPCA's campaign against these hunts is not only out of concern for the leopards, they are also worried about the well-being of the hunting dogs.
There have been instances where dogs have been mauled. Most of the injuries are small. I've been mauled. Many professional hunters in this country have been mauled by leopards. That's not an uncommon scenario for professional hunters or professional hounds, because that's what these animals are. We go into close quarters with dangerous animals, and we take injuries.
I can't say to you that they don't get hurt. They do get the occasional clout from the leopard if they get too brave and get in too close. But it's not nearly as bad as people say.
I was shown a pack of hounds that came from South Africa, actually. Many of them had lacerations on their paws and their ears and their noses, and the owner of the dogs told me quite happily that those were caused by leopards.
Milton Mapokotera used to be a dog handler for some of the safari operators. He claims he was fired because he spoke out about alleged abuses. According to Mapokotera, some houndsmen use electric collars with powerful electric currents to train the hounds.
These electric collars, they've got 3 channels. They've got number 1, which is slow. number 2, which is a medium, it's on medium. Then this number 3 is the highest one. If you shock with this highest one, the dog actually will fall down straight out. It's so powerful.
Because these are scent hounds, they go into the bush and they'll follow any scent. And so they've got to be trained to follow leopard scent, and that is done with an electric collar.
I don't use electric shocking collars on our hounds, but I wouldn't say that it's a bad thing. It's probably the best way to train a hound, especially a young hound, because with electric collar you can punish it immediately as it's doing it, as it's chasing the wrong animal when you're training it.
Dead impala are put out to attract leopards. The hounds follow the leopard tracks from the bait. Some safari operators allegedly also use the controversial method of tying live goats to trees to lure leopards. Although this method is not limited to leopard hound hunting, it has added to the controversy surrounding the hunts.
There have been live baits used in the past. I don't think it's taking place anymore. It's also a matter of opinion as to whether people are like that or not. I mean, nothing likes dying, whether you walk up to it and shoot it or whether you put it out as live bait. I'm sure no animal likes to be killed.
Now listen to what the American hunters say about live bait.
Come across one of the goats that had just been killed. In fact, it was still breathing.
When they are putting this live goat, they just tie the goat around the tree, then they leave it on that tree.
If we can get the leopards to eat goats as baits instead of impala, that's less impala we need to shoot for bait animals. And that's not necessarily live or dead.
Some they can spend maybe 5 days, 7 days actually. They'll be still alive, you see, and the jackals, they'll be actually eating half, you see, until it actually died.
The charge that hunting leopard with hounds is unsporting because it is 100% successful is probably the most common and inaccurate.
Butcher would not allow the special assignment team to join a leopard with hounds hunt. Instead, he agreed that we could use this video. It's the same video that was used to lobby Zimbabwean cabinet ministers to allow trial hunts. Unlike the video the SPCA gave special assignment, this footage paints a rosy picture of the hunts. There are no visuals of leopards being killed or of the dogs being mauled. There's also no reference to live bait.
Product, because it is quite simply exciting.
Look, there's no question that we have come under the limelight. So we have nothing to hide. We have been completely open.
They obviously don't want transparency, otherwise why weren't we invited? Why weren't we informed right from the start?
And interestingly, one of the animal rights groups that's been the most vocal, we invited them on one day.
If they're so sure that what they're doing is correct and ethical, then why not let everybody know about it?
They refused point blank. The individual we spoke to refused point blank to come out. A, and B said that nobody else within her organization would want to come out.
I even contacted one of the safari operators who, his wife sort of smiled and said, yes, we were expecting you to make that request. A message came back, yes, that I could attend one of the hunts.
And then the following day sent out emails and around the world saying what a terrible thing this hunting leopard with hounds is.
Since then, we've found out hunts have taken place. Over 7 leopards have been killed already, and not a word to Zimbabwe National SPCA.
Initially, strict conditions were set for monitoring the trials. Every hunt had to be videotaped, and a national parks official had to go along. But Special Assignment is in possession of a document in which these conditions have since been changed. Videotapes alone can now be accepted.
They want to produce facts showing that this is totally acceptable. So nothing is going to be shown that will be controversial in any way.
To Hitler Chumo of Bulawayo, it's all a question of money. Because he's poor, he says, it's illegal for him to use his dogs to hunt animals.
xa yami mina lami ngithi ngiyaphathana ngiyazama ukuthi ngingene lapha ngitshontshela awu gcine semva nje sengithuthuleze nje kuyangenza ngizonde.
There is a difference between the dog that is being trained to track a leopard and a dog that follows any animal it sees.
The way the law stands is that if somebody in the rural areas is hunting to feed his family and he takes 6 or 7 dogs out into the bush and he is actually apprehended, caught, his dogs are usually shot, confiscated, he's thrown in the cells for the night and fined. But if somebody's coming out here with US dollars, no problem, doors are opened for them and they're allowed to hunt using hounds.
Traditionally, Zimbabwe's tourism industry has been the 3rd largest earner of foreign exchange. In 1999, hunting brought in $70 million US. But now many of the lodges stand empty and tourist numbers have dwindled.
Our tourism figures, yes, they've declined over the past 2 years, probably down by 40%. In some areas, arrivals have declined, obviously, because of the land redistribution programs that we are undertaking, and also the perception that our country is not safe.
Obviously, tourism is down and the hunting industry is taking a bashing. It isn't the only industry in this country. But I really don't see why standards should be lowered.
The SPCA says that the Zimbabwean government is desperate for foreign currency. That's why they've bowed to pressure from overseas hunters and allowed the trial runs.
The political instability here has really nothing to do with tourism. Hunting's important. It gets back to economics to this country, and Robert hasn't interfered at all.
We know we're short of forex, and wonderful, we can have all these foreigners coming into the country and bringing much needed forex, yeah.
It is not true at all, because we have been experimenting for longer than currently. It is so coincidental that we have introduced them when the country is undergoing economic problems. But there is no relationship between the two. And we do not do them simply for the money.
It was the abundance of wildlife that once attracted overseas tourists and hunters. Zimbabwe was widely regarded as a model of conservation. But since the land resettlement program started, the country's wildlife is under threat. On just one conservancy in the Zimbabwean lowveld, 127 animals have been killed or maimed in poaching incidents in the last year. Among them, 21 eland, 26 zebra, 29 kudu and 18 warthogs.
People need land, there's no doubt about that in my mind. However, one of the things that is not taken too much into account is the wildlife is suffering.
There is no question that a lot of the wildlife on private lands has been affected very negatively by the land invasions and by the present political events going on.
In a country like this where you have many, many other problems at the present time, the leopard is the last thing that's on anybody's mind. If they experiment, then we should draw up some proper conclusions at the end of the day and not only look at the mighty American dollar.
The leopard is extremely valuable to us as a flagship species, promote conservation of other species, A, and B, it's a very valuable one for us to market overseas.
We mustn't look at it and say the return to the country, the return to the safari operator is so many thousands of dollars. We should also look at it from the conservation point of view and say, what effect is this going to have on the leopard population if everybody throughout the country hunted leopards all the time with dogs?
Well, yeah, what are you? You sure did fucking clean up the deck. Danke. Danke.
Good. They said rum, as they say, not because.
Like Harley Davidson, giving him my horse.
There you go.